play.
Your name, please?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
This is from 12 Rules for Life.
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills! Climate and everything are the same word.
Oh, it never occurred to me.
Interesting.
It's just crazy enough to work.
Yeah.
What now?
This is from 12 Rules for Life.
And the box is full of Pepe.
Jesus, I say that. Jesus, I say that.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
That's hot.
Help! Help! I'm being repressed!
I don't want reality.
Close it up, just like my wife's vagina.
Go, girl, baby girl.
It's science.
I see that you know your judo well.
science.
I see that you know your judo well.
That's hot.
China! China! I have to have my China. Illegal.
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
Don't even play.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Jesus, I say that.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
A what now?
Well, it my space fams. Good to see all of you once again. Oh, we've got a whole lot to cover today, and only so much time. So we better get right to it. Put on those doom caps. We've got quite a journey to take together. What's happening? Let me switch back. Ew. What? That's good. That's not good. Having a problem with my software right now. Not letting me trigger it with my hotkeys. Not helpful, but okay. Well, I don't know what's wrong with it, and if I restart it, it's gonna fuck everything up. So, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I'll trigger it with my finger, apparently. No big deal. Alright. Let's start, as we usually do, in the United States. Where, unfortunately, in the last 16 hours, there's been multiple recorded acts of gun violence and or gun violence related things that have happened in America. And that's just what I found. Alright, let's start in Colorado, where sentencing is underway for an individual after having murdered being convicted of murder in a deadly shooting on I-70 in Colorado.
Rid of the Second Amendment.
Well, happening now, the man found guilty in a deadly shooting on I-70 is receiving his sentence. The shooting happened in June of 2022 between Tower Road and Colfax Avenue. Jeremy Rocha was found responsible for shooting John Jaros while Jaros tried to pass traffic that was stopped for a street racing event. Jaros died in front of his wife and 3 children. Your reporter Justin Adams is at the Adams County Courthouse. So Justin, the sentencing is going on right now.
Actually, the judge is speaking right now as we speak, and he is giving his sentencing on this death and on this situation that happened that came down from a week ago. And it was very emotional inside the courtroom as this was all taken down last Friday. And last Friday, Rocha was found guilty of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, extreme indifference, and 4 counts of attempted murder. Inside the courtroom, Jaros' wife, Catherine Jaros, spoke about her fallen husband. She said John was a man that was...
Anyway, yeah, people just popping off on highways for really seemingly no good reason at all. Another good reason to...
Rid of the Second Amendment.
Okay, let's look at this from 3 hours ago, where a man is accused of shooting and killing his baby in Magnolia. Which is, I believe, somewhere in Washington. Baby. Come on.
The man accused of shooting and killing his infant son in Seattle's Magnolia neighborhood pleaded not guilty today. Deion Montgomery is charged with first-degree murder. Police say Montgomery told officers He was high on PCP and blamed his actions on demons. He's also accused of randomly shooting at
Demons?
other people near his home.
Come on.
Montgomery remains behind
Demons?
bars, held on $5 million bail. He is due back in court on June.
God damn it. If you believe demons are the cause of anything, then we need to take away all the guns from you. Jesus Christ. Why? Why every day? Why every day, America? Please explain yourselves. Okay. I'm gonna stay strong. I'm gonna get through this. Okay, yeah. Jesus Christ, I don't even want to look at this one. This is. I mean, granted, no. Thankfully, you know, we're ending gun violence with nobody having died. However, this is just another example of how Americans just don't deserve guns.
To attend a woman seen on a viral video shooting into the air at a crash scene near Humboldt is now charged.
And only on 13, we are giving you a look at the video that you have yet to see. ABC 13's Jessica Willie is live with the rest of the story. So, Jess, the victim says it was more dangerous than they initially thought.
Yeah, as if shooting into the air isn't dangerous enough, the victim tells us this woman, Micaiah Mitchell, shot at two of her relatives at that scene. Tonight, Mitchell is out of jail on a $30,000 bond.
Y'all can't park right here.
A violent response captured on video, now widely shared on social media. Another angle shows the beginning of...
Look, if someone's bothering you, just tell them to go away. Don't pull a gun out and start shooting. It's just wildly dumb. It's dangerous, and it's bad for society. Please, someone. For the love of God. Okay, alright, let's go to this now. Let's move away from people not deserving guns once again in America onto another topic that we talk about more than I like, because shouldn't be a thing that we have to talk about all the time, but the same situation. Seemingly in America, we can't figure out either of these problems. So let's look at this from 6 hours ago. We kind of talked about this yesterday. We're going to talk about it again real quick here today. Where in Louisiana, they have classified abortion pills as controlled substances. What I understand to like, or at least from what I've gleaned so far, to be essentially on the same classification as things such as heroin. Healthcare equals heroin, ladies. I'm really sorry.
A Louisiana bill reclassifying 2 abortion pills as controlled and dangerous substances now heads to the desk of the state's governor, where it is expected to be signed into law.
The state Senate gave the bill their final approval today. This passed the House on Tuesday, as we've reported to you. While there is a near-total abortion ban in Louisiana, critics argue this first-of-its-kind bill will make it more difficult to gain access to mifepristone and misoprostol for other medical uses.
I want to bring in now CBS News campaign reporter Shauna Mazel. So, Shauna, explain.
So if you get that sent to your house, whatever else, it sounds like you could be committed. You could be committing some kind of a state crime. Essentially, something similar to having, once again, like heroin shipped to your house, whatever that comes with. I would assume something like 15 to 20 years. It's fucking wild.
What this legislation, once it's signed into law, means for patients and care providers.
What exactly this is going to mean for patients and providers in Louisiana remains to be seen. But this drug, both of these drugs actually, can still be prescribed by providers. But those who oppose this bill are saying that this is going to cause confusion surrounding access to these drugs.
And speak to us more about the confusion then, because there are wider implications this bill will have to folks in Louisiana who need those items for other uses, but also beyond the state.
Exactly. Both of these drugs are also used to manage miscarriages. And with this legislation, it is really attempting to prevent coerced criminal abortions from occurring. They're attempting to prevent anybody from accessing these drugs without their knowledge. But this...
What's a criminal abortion? Can somebody explain that to me really quickly? Because that's not making any sense to my brain. I love how CBS is trying to frame it from, I don't know, the center. Whatever you want to call that, which is really just to the right. For fuck's sake. Alright, it's just wild. I just don't understand why you would ever need to classify the abortion pill as, you know, what do you call it? Like, as a controlled substance. It's wildly inappropriate. Okay, I haven't seen this one yet, mostly because I just assumed it was going to be great. This is from Walter Masterson from 4 hours ago, where he attended an anti-abortion parade. I'm sure this will go well.
We are here to oppress women's rights. We are going to ban contraceptives. We're going to give kids guns. We're going to ban IVF. Kids should not die in the womb. They should die from polio. 3 cheers for homeschooling.
They should die from polio.
If any of you need help making your wives come, it's the same guy who probably says all lives matter. Suddenly black babies matter when they get raped. Can you even hear me over the rain? It's so loud. So the anti-abortion people are going to have a parade in the rain to the bottom of Manhattan. We all showed up to, I was going to say wish them well, but that's a lie. Wait, one of the speakers there is the co-founder of the Men's March. I want to go to the Men's March. Oh my God. Oh my God, I forgot about the, damn it.
We have one question for the Supreme Court. Supreme Court of the United States, are an alienable right to life that is laid out in the Declaration of Independence, that in the 5th and 14th Amendment guarantees us due process for anyone to take it away, and the 14th Amendment guarantees us...
Let's get a chant going.
I wonder how that guy feels about, the one with the microphone right now yelling about the right to life. I wonder how much he is for or against, I don't know, say, school lunches for, you know, public schools and things like that.
We hate women. We hate women. That's why we're here. I hate women. I'm supposed to be here. You told me not to be on the street. I was trying to stay on the sidewalk. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, thank you. On the sidewalk. Wait, which sidewalk? The sidewalk. But if I have to cross, I will escort you. You'll be fine. You pinky swear. I pinky swear. Come on, let's go.
He's just fucking with this guy.
To oppress women's rights. We need more.
Why is he grabbing him?
Body slamming pregnant women.
Yes.
There's only one gender, and that's
Wow.
police.
Correct.
Over there that want to respect.
This is wild.
Women getting access to health care, reproductive health care. And they're really mad about it. It has nothing to do with hating women at all. Which one are you on? Which one am I on? Oh, I'm just here to read the Bible. to them. Because these people who like the Bible so much, so I
Oh.
read the Bible.
That's helpful.
And one about like how King Saul or David, got 200 foreskins. Did they? Yeah, amazing.
That's a lot.
Daughters having sex with their dad. Two amazing books. It's the Bible. Have you read it? I know a bunch of it. You get mad when you see women, people giving access to reproductive health care.
You get mad. Oh my God.
No, I'm Catholic. So are you all Catholic? I was raised Catholic. I don't. What do you support her against? I mean, I think women should be able to choose. Oh, well, mate, listen, see, this one's valid. You should be able to choose. Oh, yeah. My choice that's my choice. Yeah, your personal choice.
I'm confused. Is this guy Irish or Scottish?
I can respect that. It's, you know what I'm saying? If someone says you want this, they're probably not the judgment for it. Yeah, I mean, no one likes the act of it. What? You can respect it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So a lot of my fans keep asking, where do I get my Bible? This is called Awkward Moments Children's Bible. There's a volume 1 and a volume 2. This is better than the King James version, in my opinion. This is the only.
It does look
Bible.
good.
Women should remain silent at church. They are not allowed to speak.
Let's be real. The King James Bible, it's a little out of date. You need something more up to date, and this appears to be the solution to that.
Only true Bible. Women should remain silent at church. They are not allowed to speak.
Oh God.
They should take a secondary and subordinate place, just as the law says. If there is anything that a woman wants to learn, they should ask their own husband at home. It is disgraceful for a woman to even open her mouth in the house of the Lord. They must be quiet. I hate women. I'm supposed to be here.
Just let him pass. I'm sorry. That was amazing. He says, I hate women. Like, they stopped him because they thought he was a troublemaker. Oh my God, the irony is amazing.
They must be quiet. I hate women. I'm supposed to be here. The Lord told Odin, go and have sex with your brother's widow. Hey everyone, we're at our parade here. This is to ban abortion, ban IVF, and contraception. You know what? People getting pregnant for rising up. We need them to fuck. Alright? None of this IVF bullshit. Everything. Contraceptives, abortion, IVF, all of it. We're here to ban abortion and give kids guns. Give baby guns.
And to give kids guns.
Contraception, and we're gonna give them a gun. We're gonna ban contraceptives. We're gonna give kids guns. We're gonna ban IVF. We're gonna ban abortion. And then we're gonna ban vaccines. You know what? We're die of polio. We're against abortion. We're against IVF. Wobegon wants kids to have guns. Kids should not die in the womb. They should die from polio. They should die from measles. That builds up their natural immunity. Am I right?
Dying, yeah. I guess. I'm not a doctor.
The children should die of polio and a school shooting. You don't want people
Jesus Christ.
things like polio and measles or something. Hey, we're gonna ban contraceptives. What do you think about that? Oh yeah? Well, good. We want to keep people dumb. That's the point. The
What the heck did she say? I missed that.
What do you think about that? Oh yeah? Well, good. We want to keep people dumb. That's the point. Homeschool your kids. 3 cheers for homeschooling. Count to 3 if you've been homeschooled. 1, 3. We're here because we hate women. Which one of you needs help making your wife come? Back up there. I saw that.
Oh my God. Which one of you needs help making your wife come? Well played, sir. Well played. It did appear that she was mocking him, but I don't blame her for mocking him if she believed that he was being serious, which, I don't know. In that moment, I could see I could see you being completely unaware of who Walter Masterson is and think he's just being a complete idiot, which, I mean, technically the character he's playing is being an idiot. It's complicated. It's like a web of irony. Okay. Just figured we would not only look at specifics on what's happening regarding women's health care, but also try and at least laugh at the people that are ruining it for just a moment, even though it's tough. Okay, let's look at a couple of Canadian-related things here. First, this is from 11 hours ago, where watchdogs are warning that mortgage holders may be in serious, well, I guess, potential danger of being hit with very high housing payment shock due to, I believe in like 2025 or 2026, they said that the mortgage, the vast majority of mortgages in Canada will be up for renewal and are on variable rate mortgages. We saw this in America in 2009, and now there appears to be something of a potential building situation in Canada. This isn't necessarily to pass, but just really just a warning, I guess you might call it.
Canada's banking watchdog is warning homeowners they may be in for a payment shock if they have to renew their mortgages in the next couple of years. The Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions says this is set to affect the majority of mortgage holders by 2026. Scott Peterson is on this story for us. Scott, why is the watchdog warning people now?
Well, they're taking a look, and millions of Canadians have their mortgage due over the next couple of years. And as you mentioned, they're warning of a housing payment shock as millions of Canadians need to review and refinance at substantially higher rates, and this could lead to a lot of troubles for people making ends meet in the future. Let's take a quick look at as far as what's the OSFI saying, and this is an annual report, sort of a look at housing. 76% of housing of outstanding residential mortgages, for example, are up for renewal by the end of 2026. 15% of those mortgages with variable rate mortgages, in particular with fixed payments, may have their principal increasing, that the payments no longer cover the interest and they have to make lump sums in the future. That's troubling as well. Bank of Canada overnight rate, as we know, is at 5%. It's the highest it's been in 20 years. And according to the CMHC, there's 7 million residential mortgages in Canada. That means millions, 3/4 of those will have to be renewed. And
Already a housing crisis across Canada, at least from what I've come to understand, as it's not dissimilar from the American housing crisis. So that's not great. It's not great news, if I'm being honest. And this next video we have here, which is also Canada related, just compounds the situation even further. This is from a day ago. CBC News had, we're only going to watch the first part of it, or like a portion of it. It's quite long, but according to them, 1 in 4 people are experiencing food insecurity, according to food banks in Canada. Wait, no. Hey. Don't do this.
Over rising grocery prices.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
We turn now to a new report underscoring the struggle many Canadians face with high food prices. Food Banks Canada found
you're worried about homeowner insurance going for that. That's another factor compounding all of this. I just realized I haven't been reading chat. I feel bad.
Half of those surveyed feel worse off than last year. It also looked over the latest StatsCan data from 2022 and found that 7 out of 10 provinces failed in terms of their food security and poverty approaches, while 3 provinces either worsened or remained stagnant from last year. On a national level, they graded Canada an F for its food security status. This is an issue that saw heightened debate in the House today.
Canadians are hungry. Literally, according to the Food Bank's Canada report, 50% of Canadians say they're worse off than a year ago. Why is it that Canadians who can't feed themselves have to keep feeding his morbidly obese government?
It would be slightly more credible to hear the Conservatives concerned about the challenges Canadians are facing if they hadn't stood and voted against more spaces in childcare. They've also stood against our school foods program that's going to help 400,000 more kids across the country.
Kirsten Beardsley is the CEO of Food Banks Canada, and she joins me now. Kirsten, it's good to speak with you again. Thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me.
These numbers, not great. They're pretty alarming, but they're also a couple of years old. They're based on 2022 StatsCan data. What can we extrapolate on what the situation looks like in 2024?
Well, some of the data is based on our polling this year, but we at Food Banks are seeing folks at our doors in record numbers. So we expect that when the federal data comes out for right now, that we will see an increase again. We are seeing, and I must say I get tired of saying this, the highest level of food bank use in Canadian history. And we really are the canaries in the coal mine. We see folks through our doors before they show up in this data. So I expect things will look a little bit tougher before they start to get better.
Right, because since these numbers were collected, as rough as they were, we saw really high inflation. I know it's starting to bend down, but those price increases are baked into the system. And as you say, last year saw the highest ever reported food bank visits, reaching almost 2 million. You work with more than 5,000 food banks across the country. What are they saying about the demand so far this year?
The word I'm hearing most often right now is that it's unsustainable, that food banks aren't meant to absorb a rate of growth that we've seen. So we're at 50% over 2021 numbers. And I don't think that it's, you know what, I think also it's incongruous as a country for us to think that it's food banks that are being the ones who are resolving this issue. So unsustainable is really where we're at. We can't continue to absorb this number of new clients. We'll meet the need, but really it requires government action, and we're not seeing enough of that right across the country.
Okay, I want to get to that in a second, but just what is your sense of the cause behind the statistics? Because this is widespread, right? It's not localized in any one area. Is it the rising cost of food? Is it the lack of government support? Like, what is the thing that is primarily driving this?
So we have to remember that food bank use was elevated before this crisis. So there is an ongoing, persistent issue of a stagnant social safety net that doesn't move people out of poverty quickly enough. And then what we're seeing layered on that really is that the costs just aren't matching the incomes that people have available to them, whether that is through social assistance, whether that is through income supports and benefits, or right now what we're seeing is a growing number of people with employment income. So their incomes aren't stretching far enough. They simply don't have enough money at the end of the month to pay their rent and pay for food to put on the table for their kids. So far too many folks are stopping at the end of work on their way home at the food bank rather than the grocery store.
So you heard the clip we played beforehand. This was an issue in the House of Commons today.
Okay. Anyway, essentially, the problem is that the food banks aren't getting enough money from the federal and state governments. People are relying on them more than was expected due to all sorts of different factors. But, late stage capitalist stuff that we talk about all the time in terms of really currently, with real estate being incredibly expensive, and all the other sorts of difficulties people are currently facing, and it just doesn't all add up. That is essentially what at least the first guest says to some degree. I'm not shelling, and if you want to hear more about it, there's another 20 plus minutes of that on CBC for your viewing enjoyment. But we have other things to look at today. 5 videos in. Okay, let's look at this. This is actually, why is this here? You know what? Let's just look at this. All right, so this is from 7 hours ago. Forbes breaking news here. This is AOC. She was asked outside the steps of Congress about Netanyahu coming to speak. And she had some words about that.
A fucking bitch.
What if Schumer signs on to this invite to Netanyahu to address Congress?
I just don't think it's constructive for Netanyahu to be doing a joint address in this moment, period, regardless of who's sending him.
I think it's Republican mischief in action. I think he is not the...
Okay. I still find it fascinating that the invite is still out there. I remember hearing about it, and I think recently I completely forgot about it because of the fact that he was, that the ICC is like seeking arrest warrants for him and his buddy Yoav Gallant. But then it's probably because I wasn't remembering simultaneously that the United States is not recognizing the ICC in any way. Let's see here. Well, at least not in this matter. I'm sure if Putin showed up, we'd arrest him. Or any other people that have existing sort of international warrants. Okay. Alright, I just want to look at this because this crossed my feed and I was like, what in the fuck is this? Is this a real quote? But let's watch this. A congressman was asked some questions about presidential immunity, and his response was, it was pretty interesting, I gotta say.
I don't believe anybody deserves absolute immunity. You know, the fact of the matter is, the last thing I want to do, that sounds a whole lot like the position we got rid of when we fought the Revolutionary War. Kings have absolute immunity. I don't believe presidents should.
If a president ordered the assassination of Manu Raju, I don't think they should be held immune. So,
all right. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I'm sorry, but I just love his face during this quote. Like, just look at his face while the question is being asked. You can see him, like, you can see the sort of the gears turning underneath, like.
If a president ordered the assassination of Manu Raju, I don't think they should be held immune. So,
hopefully.
I mean, it's fair. I think it's a position that I can get behind for sure. Not just for Manu Raju, but journalists in general. Okay, let's talk about this annoying legislation that is, I believe has now passed the Arizona Senate, allowing police to make what many people are referring to as racialized border arrests.
The border crisis is the #1 issue across the country. If you go to Tucson or Marana or Oro Valley and you ask anybody what's your number one issue, and I've gone to the doors, I've talked to people at the doors, I've talked to people in my district, every single one of them, their number one issue is the border.
I'm going to focus on the fact that fentanyl is even included in the title because it implies that the fentanyl crisis is going to somehow be solved by this bill. I need those listening in this chamber, in the House, online, and in my district. I know what this crisis does at a ground level. It hit close to home for me. I no longer get to live my life.
I think it's wild that they would use this as a sort of facade or as cover for what they're doing, right? Or as this sort of, what do you call it? Like the impetus behind it. Oh, we're actually trying to stop fentanyl from coming here, not brown people. Okay, what's next? Oh, that's not bad. 47 minutes in, and we're already making a transition to environmental shit. Oh, I've got a bunch of shit after. Okay, let's look at this. This is from a day ago, where according to a Reuters report here, which I found very interesting, although I'm not entirely sure. I might feel like I need to do a little bit of research on exactly how much. But now that I think about it, it could actually be a lot. How much coffee is actually made? Anyway, according to them, morning coffees may make greener concrete in Australia, and technically, you could do it everywhere.
Your morning cup of coffee could help the planet. That's the promise of one Australian university that's transforming used coffee grounds into more sustainable concrete. They say the process could potentially lower greenhouse gas emissions. The researchers at RMIT University are heating the coffee grounds to over 650 degrees Fahrenheit in an oxygen-free chamber to create a substance called biochar.
Oh my god. I knew the numbers were going to be big, okay? But I had to look it up, right? I had to. Just because I have a curiosity about me. 2.25 billion cups of coffee are consumed worldwide every day. In a 24-hour period, that's 2.25 billion cups. Now, that's not necessarily coffee grounds, but it sounds like there's a massive amount of coffee grounds that come, or maybe, is that the coffee grounds? Hold on. Either way, it's an insane amount of coffee. And if this process really does help eliminate the amount of carbon created by concrete, I'm all for it, because it's actually, people don't think about it, but concrete production happens to be one of the largest producers of hydrocarbons, but it's often overlooked.
They claim biochar can replace up to 15% of the sand used in concrete and make it 30% stronger.
We can leverage that to even reduce the cement content, which is a highly carbon-intensive material.
Rajiv Roychand is the lead researcher.
We anticipate that the whole 100% of coffee waste in Australia can be recycled into concrete applications.
Concrete production is responsible for around 7% of the world's CO2 emissions, according to the United Nations. Over 55 billion tons of sand and gravel are dug up each year, mostly for use in concrete. Its extraction is often environmentally destructive, and the UN says it's in increasingly short supply. This footpath was successfully made with coffee concrete. The researchers here are working with several construction and concrete companies and forming their own biochar company. They're also in talks with Starbucks to take its coffee grounds. Local coffee shop owner Tony Roussos says he would get in on the action too.
Fantastic. It's a very innovative idea. Bring the cost of concrete down And the materials, obviously, there's a benefit to the environment if we're not using harsh chemicals and replacing it with, coffee grounds as a natural product, easy to access. A lot of cafes could sell their coffee ground.
Yep. Now, do I care if cafes get to sell their coffee grounds? Honestly, no, I don't give a fuck. That's not that great for me, but people always want a goddamn economic reason for everything in this world. So it's not terrible that it exists to shut people up about, but once again, really not the top of my list in terms of, oh, how much money can you make from selling the stuff that you are already throwing away? Okay, let's look at this. Now, some of you may and are most likely aware of tangentially with the phenomenon of carp, the Asian carp phenomenon that was happening in freshwater areas around the United States. They are an invasive species to the Great Lakes. Well, they managed to do quite a good job. Well, not an amazing job, but a pretty good job on tamping those down. As it turns out, that wasn't as hard to do as something that they're currently dealing with. Still. And this is something that, I feel like I've heard stories about this, but just did not realize this was literally real. But this is from 3 hours ago, where apparently Americans are causing feral goldfish to threaten the Great Lakes ecosystem. That's right, goldfish. You know those fun things you get at carnivals. Orange and cute. Bring them home. Well, they're threatening an entire ecosystem.
For many people, it's their first pet, the humble goldfish. Swimming in a tank in your house, it's hard to imagine it's much of a threat. But when released into a Great Lake, a goldfish can imperil the fragile ecosystem of the largest freshwater system in the world. Christopher Booker has the story.
Yeah, you can pull the bottom board.
Ecologist Andrea Court is beginning another day at the Coots Paradise Fishway in Hamilton, Ontario. Sitting between Lake Ontario and the Coots Paradise Marsh, this fishway acts as a border wall for fish. The goal? To keep invasive species out of this marsh, an important spawning and nursery area for native fish.
We have a series of baskets or cages that are underwater. So we have a crane, it lifts the basket, dumps them into a container, and then we sort the fish. At that point, I can decide which way the fish are going to go.
With the flick of a wrist, Court sends native fish, like this channel catfish, into the marsh to spawn. Invasives, like this common carp, aren't so lucky.
We turn away anywhere from about 2,000 in recent years to 9,000 carp.
And when you say turn...
So as you can see, they already have a completely, what do you call it? Just incredible. It's like a pretty complex system to try and keep the Asian carp out of the marsh area here, which is working well. But the fact is that the goldfish are so resilient that they are still managing to thrive, regardless of the measures that they've been trying to take here. While it's been moderately successful to at least get rid of some of them, it has not even gotten close to eradicating them. And the fact is that they happen to cause a bunch of problems that are unexpected that you might not consider regarding the growth of plants, among other things. Okay, let's now move on to some of the recent weather disasters that have hit the United States over the last couple of days, honestly. Let's look at Houston again. We've talked about this ongoing, never-ending storm that Houston's seemingly been under siege by. First, it was just massive floods and a couple of tornadoes. Then it was a lot of insane wind, over 100 miles per hour. It was all within a very short period of time. I think they might have actually had 3 distinct storms in like a week. Here is some of the aftermath of that in downtown Houston, where people are essentially unable to return to work because of falling glass.
More new streets and sidewalks downtown blocked off now over concerns about falling glass from storm-damaged buildings. The city now says most concerns are in the southwest quadrant of downtown, south of McKinney and west of Fannin. ABC 13's Charlie Etzedy is live there. Charlie, the city already warning of significant traffic delays there.
Good morning to you, Jacob. Yeah, you mentioned traffic, and morning rush hour is really starting to pick up. We're on the corner of Polk in Louisiana this morning, and you can see all the cars that are having to divert around this road closure right here behind us at this intersection. So already we're starting to see the traffic impacts this morning. And so I just want to point out.
Okay, we're not going to watch this whole video, but just wanted to kind of illuminate all of the different sort of things that are now happening in the aftermath of all of this. Now, they have managed to restore power to a great number of people. Originally, there was nearly 1 million. I think it was like 800,000 or some. I can't remember the exact number, honestly, but there was like very close to 1 million people without power in the greater Houston area due to these storms. This is from 10 hours ago, where at least 25,000 Houstonians are still completely without their internet services.
It's so critical to stay connected. About 24,000 households right now still don't have internet.
ABC 13's Pooja Lodia is now live in the Heights with what you need to know if you're one of those people.
Well, we have been watching crews hard at work all day long, and the good news is we have seen household after household get services back. So according to Comcast, there are a few reasons, explanations really, for why you still might not have internet. First off, if you do not have electricity, you will not have internet service.
Okay, I just wanted to watch that one, honestly, for the for the fucking laugh of that. I found that to be fucking hilarious on my first watching. Just like having Comcast tell you that you need electricity for Wi-Fi. Come on, Comcast. Who doesn't know that? Ridiculous.
I don't want reality.
Okay. Now, let's see what happened here in Iowa. We saw... Actually, it's not just Iowa. I take it back. So we saw what happened in Iowa recently, where a massive tornado struck Greensfield there. But things have actually escalated as another tornado has hit nearby. Oh shit, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Hold on. First, let's why haven't I? Dang it, I suck. First, let's look at this one, where a Greenfield resident describes the moment the tornado hit their house. Emotional support character. Where's my dice? Oh my god. This is a travesty. Well, I don't know where my dice is, so I'm just gonna start from 1 here. Just gonna give you Bacula. I'm sorry, but I don't know where they are. If I did, I would do this right. But you can't just stop everything to find some dice. I feel like that's irresponsible. And a waste of time. Unless everybody genuinely feels that they're being cheated right now, somehow. And if that's the case, I will stop everything. We'll stop everything and we will do it, okay? But while we decide, let's listen to this woman's accounting.
We heard the sirens go off, so I got all the kids and went downstairs into this room, the only room left standing, and just kind of huddled in the corner, and it got really quiet and then really loud, and then everything was gone. I could feel the wind.
That picture is insane. Literally all that is left is the cement blocks in the basement. They're not kidding when they say that the basement is basically the only place that you're even kind of protected in a tornado. And clearly in this case, kinda is an operative, or the operative word. But, yeah, this whole thing has been fucking wild. Just the Midwest has been getting torn up to no end, seemingly. And we haven't even hit hurricane season. Just gonna point that out. It's like weeks away still.
I could feel the wind and stuff, and then just a lot of stuff fell on top of us, and then it was over. It was like 10 seconds of just pure terror, and it felt like it lasted a lifetime. Most of it's gone.
For 10 seconds it was pure terror, but it felt like it lasted a lifetime. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. And some of the footage we saw was fucking insane. I think a lot of the people that are here now saw it as well. Alright, let's look at this. Actually, hold on. I have no idea what I have no idea what I did with that dice. I thought I was gonna find it. I was like, maybe it's right here. Nope, not there. Floating around the space station somewhere, unbeknownst to me. Okay, now I don't know, mentioned this before that video, but let us look at this next one here from Global News. This was from 8 or 9 hours ago. As tornadoes swept through both Texas and Iowa. Let's look at this. Clean up all this. Crazy pills?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
The craziest pills. Wait. Did that just get taken down? Oh, son of a... Why does this happen once per stream? Okay, whatever. Let's move on. Let's move on to this next one. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, there it is. There it is. Found it.
Strong storms moved through Texas, spawning several tornadoes. The city of Temple issued an emergency declaration after a tornado swept through the area. The severe weather caused widespread damage, as you can see. Reports of downed power lines, downed trees, and a lot of property damage. City officials have asked residents to stay home if they can, as road conditions are either dangerous, closed, or simply impassable at this time. So far, no fatalities or life-threatening injuries have been reported.
This was freaking big. This is a big tornado. Look at that.
I know. All these, all along here. How many, what do you think it is? A quarter of a mile?
At least.
Robert, it was so scary.
Uh-huh. You can see inside the bank.
All the fire alarms are going off. Behind the Shipley's Donuts, those houses through there are trash. The Shipley's Donuts are trash. All the power lines on 2305 are down.
Look at that Ford.
Yeah, and it's basically just another 2 minutes of destruction. So just trying to extrapolate that out over a large portion of the Midwest, and that pretty much encapsulates the video for you. By the way, good to see everybody who is showing up. I know I started, well, not really early, but early for Thursdays, because I usually try and start late for Leftist Mafia to end. But who's already shown up already? I think Mo, Noah, Aaron W, PB, Schmegley, Stephen K, Nadia, Donald James. Ooh, I don't think I've seen Desert Wildflowers in chat before, but welcome. FG, I see FG as well, and my dogs. All of you people. Alright, what's next? We got, yeah, let's look at this. This is a piece from CBC from 8 hours ago discussing the future of 2024's hurricane season, which is coming up sooner than you might think.
The 2023 Atlantic hurricane season was one of the most active on record, with 20 named storms and 3 major hurricanes. Today, we're getting an idea of what this year could look like, both in the U.S. and right here in Canada. The CBC's international climate correspondent Susan Ormiston joins us live with more on this. So, Susan, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, it released its outlook for the 2024 hurricane season. What is it looking like?
Not good.
Yeah.
More storms with more force. We're looking at 4 to 7 major hurricanes and 17 to 25 tropical storms. Essentially, they're saying that all the conditions that lead to both severity and frequency of hurricanes are adding up together this year. Here's how Rick Spinrad of NOAA explained it.
This season is looking to be an extraordinary one in a number of ways, based on our data and models with the El Nino La Nina playing out a significant role. Of note, the forecast for named storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes is the highest NOAA has ever issued for the May outlook.
So essentially, why? Well, we're looking at extraordinary ocean.
Ugh. Hate that. Hate that.
So hot right now.
It's a bad outlook. And we've been talking about how the storms we've been seeing are in many quantifiable ways unseasonable, historical in some degree or another, and how hurricane season hasn't even come. Well, it is a-coming. It's in about 3 or 4 weeks from now, and the outlook is not great, not super positive, and so people in the, and the fact is that the, what do you call it, like the arc of hurricanes has kind of been increasing over the years, hitting states it didn't in the past historically. And so I was gonna say to the south, but now I'm just like, basically anybody that's even remotely near a coast in any possible way, do try and keep yourself safe this coming hurricane season. Okay, on to a much sunnier subject. This is from Reuters from 6 hours ago, where marine life has suffered in Thailand as sea temperatures hit records.
Climate and everything are the same word.
Right.
Don't even play.
Yeah, we haven't actually talked about the coral in Thailand yet, I don't think. We've talked about it in a bunch of places. The United States coast, in the Gulf of Mexico, on the coast of Brazil, places in Australia and such, but I think Thailand's a new one for us, and they're also experiencing coral bleaching due to sea temperatures, so it seems like no stretch of the ocean is safe from the wrath of the effect of humans.
Once vibrant and colorful, these corals in Thailand's eastern Gulf Coast have turned white. It's a phenomenon known as coral bleaching and is a sign of deteriorating health. Scientists say it's due to the rising sea surface temperatures, which hit record highs this month amid a regional
paint swatch?
heat wave. The coral reefs act as both a food resource and habitat, which is why deteriorating reefs can have a significant impact on marine biodiversity. Rising temperatures are not only impacting marine life, but also the livelihoods of local communities. Sommi Singsura is a local fisherman.
The coral reef is my heart and soul. When it isn't bleached, healthy and abundant, and you can go out fishing at night. You can easily catch squid and fish near the coral reef, earn a living that was nice and easy. Each time, when we set out at night and return in the morning, we would earn at least 2,000 or 3,000 baht, approximately $55 to $83. If all the corals died, we'd be in trouble.
Singsura's daily catch of seafood has dwindled in recent years. Sometimes he comes back empty-handed. Marine biologist Lalita Puchim has just completed a dive in the area.
Right now, most of it has lost its color. Around 20 to 30% is in the middle of bleaching. Hold on, sorry. I think I might have read that wrong. Let me go back. I couldn't find a single healthy coral. Right now, most of it has a turned pale color. Around 20 to 30% is in the middle of bleaching, and 5% have already died due to the rising temperature. The bleaching is quite fast-paced. There were reports of the coral bleaching in mid-April, and in 2 to 3 weeks, some of the corals have already died from the bleaching. Almost all the species have bleached.
Her underwater reading shows the ocean reached more than 33 degrees Celsius. That's 90 degrees Fahrenheit on the day of her dive. She calls this global boiling. Lalita says if water
I hate that term. I hate that term. Oh, God. Oh, boo. The magic dice are frowned upon? Wait, what's happening? Oh, we're not talking about our magic. This is some other kind of magic. Not galactic magic. Okay. Alright, what else do we have to look at? You know, I honestly didn't know where to put this one, but it is, it's going in here, because the fact is this is just, it feels related. We recently watched the plane over Singapore have to go down because they had insane turbulence, unexpected. This is a kind of similar event, and it's feeling real climate changey related, considering. But this is wild. This happened in Mexico. I think it was last night. 9 different people died when a stage collapsed at a Mexican election rally because of high winds.
The number of injured in that terrifying stage collapse in Mexico has now risen to 70 people. It all happened at a presidential candidate's rally.
That is just fucking, it's just ridiculous.
Large screen full right.
It is just insane. It's a metal structure, completely set up, you know, well weighted down, you would think, and suddenly from the wind, I don't know how fast the wind would have to be going to do something like that. That it's just It's just fucking wild. Oh my god.
You can see the structure and that large screen fall right onto the audience. They're blaming a strong wind gust that came through. 9 people, including a minor, are now dead. CNN's Stefano Posban is with us now once more. 701.
Okay. Actually, let's listen to this just a little bit more. Sorry. Yeah, it is nightmarish. I agree. It's fucked.
Learning.
Well, Kate, we're learning that at least the
Monkeys are dropping out of trees from heat. We talked about this. We talked about this, was it yesterday, I think? I think it was yesterday.
20 people are being treated for injuries in relation to that tragedy. Thankfully, no more death toll updates. 9 people have been killed. One of them, just like you said, is a minor. But in the early hours of this Thursday, Kate, we're learning from CNN weather team in Atlanta what could possibly have happened for this stage to collapse. They sent us in the last hour a fresh new report about the conditions.
I mean, you can see people just standing there on the ground getting pushed by the wind. Okay. All right, let's move on to this, just to kind of cleanse the palate, if you will, from all of the horrifying images we've just witnessed. This is in Portugal, the beautiful town of Lisbon. City? Yeah, I think it's a city. Which is now painted by lilac flower blossoms. Although it's not lilac colored, I think is what they're suggesting, because actually, I think they're talking about a different tree. Wait, no, we don't need to see this again. This is... oh my god.
At least 9 people are dead.
This shit is fucking wild. Sorry. Didn't mean to hit you with that. This is what I meant to do. This is the beautiful thing. Jesus Christ. See, isn't it lovely? It's peaceful and beautiful. And it kind of makes you think about literally anything other than the entire world either burning or flooding. Am I right? It's meditative, almost. This is a tree that found here good conditions to adapt and to grow, and it became widely used, likely because of its aesthetic, as it is a very beautiful tree. Also provides a very pleasant shade and is a perfumed shade. Its flowers have a very gentle fragrance. One can walk around the streets and it identifies immediately a street of jacarandas. I don't know how to say that. I think I've said that badly.
O jacaranda mimosifolia no ranking daquele estudo que nós fizemos em 2014.
The jacaranda mimosifolia is, oh god, I can't read it that fast. I think you get it though. I think you get it. It's beautiful. Lovely and serene. Okay, because of how much global news I think I have to look through here today, we're going to do space news now before the break. Okay, so yeah, let's do space news. This is from 11 hours ago, where a Colorado-built space plane arrives in Florida.
We continue to follow the Dream Chaser space plane that was built right here in Colorado. Sierra Space's creation has now arrived at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And it is getting ready. The space plane, which is now called the Tenacity, is at the Space Systems Processing Facility, where it will undergo final testing and pre-launch. NASA and Sierra Space hope to launch the maiden voyage later this year. Tenacity will carry 7,800 pounds of cargo first to the International Space Station, but they hope to have crewed missions in the future.
Cool. Space. It's a thing, and it's happening all around us. You have lilac bushes in your yard. They're lovely. However, I think it's just the color of those bushes. What was it called again? The jacaranda tree. I don't think it's actually related to the lilac tree. They both look lovely, though. Alright, now to something kind of disturbing. This is from a day ago, where the US has accused Russia of launching space weapons into orbit.
And what I'm tracking here is on May 16th, as you highlight, Russia launched a satellite into low Earth orbit that we assess is likely a counter space weapon, presumably capable of attacking other satellites in low Earth orbit. Russia deployed this new counter space weapon into the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite, and so assessments further indicate characteristics resembling previously deployed counter space payloads from 2019 and 2022. And so, obviously that's something that we'll continue to monitor. Certainly, we would say that we have a responsibility to be ready to protect and defend the domain, the space domain, and ensure continuous and uninterrupted support to the joint and combined force.
We got the domain of space. You need to chill out. Everybody needs to chill out. Stop sending more weapons up here, okay? I'm already dealing with enough. Got Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk always shooting off random space junk up here. We don't need all-out space war. It's ridiculous.
And we'll continue to balance the need to protect our interests in space with our desire to preserve a stable and sustainable space environment.
Никак не могу это комментировать. Здесь мы действуем абсолютно в соответствии с...
By the way, that's the Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, saying that Russia acts completely in accordance with international law.
I don't want reality.
Thank you, Mark Mullins. Okay, let's look at this from 8 hours ago. No more battles in space. Let's forget that entirely. Okay. This is from 8 hours ago, where a space telescope has captured stunning new images of the dark universe. Sustainable space, that's what he said.
These images are visually very beautiful, but they are also very informative. They really demonstrate how Euclid can look at a very large field of view. It can really look at the sky, showing full clusters of galaxy, but also show at the same time very tiny details. And some of the images really show them that there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of objects in one image. The idea that a community of people has finally put.
That picture is amazing. I love that picture. It looks fake. It's incredible. It's just amazing. Okay, that is going to trigger the intermission. Whoever loses will launch nukes? Let's hope not. Let's hope there's none of that. Well, I hope everybody's enjoying the stream so far. If you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Really helps out. If you'd like to help out even further, well, you got one good choice. And that's clicking this link in chat so that you can become a galactic producer, where space benefits unseen by the rest of the galaxy will be made available to you. Sweet perks like being able to add chosen art, gifts, and other sorts of things to scenes like you see in front of you right now. Having your name mentioned at the end of streams, and exclusive content, which I am, well, honestly, not doing my best at while also simultaneously doing a stream every single day right now, but I am trying, and hopefully at one point that'll be the best part of being a Patreon member. Anyways, enjoy this intermission and grab yourself a snack. I'll be right back. Ow.
Don't even play.
What now?
A fucking bitch.
Don't be creepy.
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Your name, please?
What now?
Oh, never occurred to me.
Interesting.
It's just crazy enough to work.
Yeah.
Okay. I just realized something. Can somebody tell me something? Has the volume been quiet this entire stream for the video? Am I that dumb? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I have the volume down this whole time? I guess we'll find out. Press 1. It's been quiet. It has been quiet. God dang it. Why didn't I know this until just now? Well, I fixed it. Makes me sad, though. Makes me very sad. Kind of maybe yes. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, well, let's get to global news. What do you say? I'm not done. You know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate your support. Alright, let's start just shy south of the United States in Haiti, where America is still deporting Haitian migrants right back to their country.
The U.S.'s response to Haitian nationals seeking safety is always met with violence and anti-black racism within the...
Wait, my laugh just made the cats jump into the ceiling? Sorry, kitties. I love you. It's my bad. Here, I'll speak cat to you.
Immigration system in the United States is rooted in that hatred for people of color, specifically of black people. And we all know it, and we...
That's right, I don't just speak whale or elephant, I also speak cat.
Witnessed it.
When these July 2021 images of U.S. Border Patrol whipping Haitian migrants in the Rio Grande circulated, many were outraged and said it echoed images of the slave trade.
When the officer felt comfortable enough to repeat the same image we have seen in this country for hundreds of years, to be comfortable enough to chase black people, that is how the United States always respond when it comes to black migrants and when it comes specifically to Haitian migrants. And history keeps on repeating itself.
In part one of this Zip Code special series, A Tale of Two Countries, One Border,
it's like a half, it's an interesting sound. It's like a half meow, half purr, right? It's like a hello, we're friends. Let's chill.
covered what it's like for Haitian migrants in Mexico and that nation's response to black immigrants there. This is where coyotes and smugglers come and they bring in all the migrants to cross into the U.S.
I'm already good here. You know, all I need is make money. I mean, I can't afford the U.S.
U.S. Border Patrol ended 2023 with more migrant encounters at the southern border than any other year on record.
And yet the, hold on, sorry, I kind of got distracted.
It's the pain that I see in the migrants, in the people seeking safety, in the refugees, but also what we as a people are missing out on. We are missing out on an opportunity to really connect.
Now, I travel to the other side of the border wall to dig into how U.S. policy affects Haitians in search of asylum.
Now, the reason why I wanted us to watch this, if you're for some reason not sure why, aside from the obvious, is because we've been talking about Haiti for weeks and weeks. Weeks and weeks, probably months now, actually. The situation has not improved, even though the U.S. and the UN have installed a new government there. And it's because a lot of Haitian people don't want to be subjugated and to be given a government by the West, right? We've tried that multiple times now. Just in the last 20 years, 2004, and 2021 with Jovenel Moise, some degree with, well, whatever, it's complicated, but anyways, I just figured that we would also look at the fact that the United States, for all of Biden's presidency, while all this is going on, and while we are sending troops circuitously and vicariously through Kenya to Haiti to essentially stop what's happening there, we're also denying Haitian asylum seekers and migrants at an unprecedented pace, continuing the same policies that Trump had in place at the border, where we saw images of, Haitians being literally whipped by police on horseback, border agents, and it has not stopped. It's just intensified. Considering what's happening, I don't think anybody should be shocked by that. We're just not seeing all the images because people are focused on all sorts of stuff. We try to stay focused on everything important in the world, which is, sometimes to the detriment of my sleep schedule, but I just feel like this is really important to look at.
Of race in that pursuit, and what's next for these migrants?
There needs to be processes put in place to be able to welcome people with dignity and compassion and respect. Oh my God! And we know it's possible. We have done it for the Ukrainians.
Sorry, I got carried away and forgot that I was going to also push this forward a little bit, because we cannot watch all 20 minutes of this. Fuck, I'm trying to remember. I should have written this down. Should have written it down. I want to say right here's a good spot.
Very much. When the first flow of Haitian refugees were coming in the 1970s, 1980s, the response was to put them in Guantanamo Bay.
Oh wait, you got to 20?
In addition to that, to say they were...
Wait, sorry, did you get to 20? Hold on. You have 30 likes? 30 likes? What? Okay, that's wild. And I don't know where the dice is. I looked for it on the intermission. Probably fallen into a spaceship vent somewhere. So I'm just gonna do this. Just go the old school way, which was always, what was it? It was always Bacula, then Cisco, then Jessica Fletcher, and then we worked our way back in. Okay, let me do it for this screen as well. As you know, I have to have 2 of these just because my stream software hates me. Okay. There you go. Well done. Well done, chat. We now have support to get through this. Hopefully, Jessica Fletcher can solve the mystery.
Areas of AIDS, that they brought AIDS into the world, that completely destroyed the Haitian American community.
But when the Haitian refugees fled their country because of alleged...
So if you didn't quite catch that because we were talking over it, I wouldn't blame you. But essentially, during the 70s and 80s, many Haitian migrants, if you're unaware of this, were essentially blamed for the AIDS epidemic coming to America, and just wildly racist.
Political persecution, they were greeted with less than enthusiasm by the American government.
The U.S. used the AIDS pandemic to stigmatize Haitians by regulating their blood donations in the 1980s. In the 1990s, the United States intercepted hundreds of boats during a refugee crisis and sent thousands of Haitians back to an island reeling from U.S. intervention in President Jean-Bertrand Aristide's administration. This is only a sample of how the U.S. spent a century intervening in Haiti, including propping up dictators and deposing leaders. And then there was the 2010 earthquake Haiti never truly recovered from that killed 220,000 people, leaving thousands more injured and disabled. There's also the U.S.'s decades-long habit of backing anti-democratic strongmen to lead the island. That's led to this crisis.
Yep.
And so when foreign mercenaries shot and killed President Jovenel Moïse in July 2021, they intensified the island nation's chaos.
And the fact is Jovenel Moïse was also an appointed, non-elected leader. Remember that. Essentially, Haiti hasn't had elected representation for 20 years now. Every leader since Jean-Bertrand Aristide was assassinated in the coup attempt in 2004. I guess you would call it a successful coup in 2004, led by the United States and Canada, as well as I think it was France in there too. You remembered that narrative growing up? Are you referring to the AIDS thing that I mentioned? I don't think I was even alive for that narrative, but somehow aware of it to some degree. Not on a first-hand basis. Alright, what is next? Oh, okay, right. So this is also something I wanted to tie in here with this, where a reporter grilled Joe Biden as the Kenyan president visited the United States to talk with Joe Biden and other American leaders on his involvement and their countries and his country's involvement in Haiti right now. But he was not a fan of questions that were asked.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. One question, and this is on Haiti. President Biden, Kenya is rather doing the heavy lifting in a turbulent region, Somalia, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Washington, as you have mentioned, has committed millions of dollars for the cost in Haiti. isn't it ironic that while America is ending its forever wars in Afghanistan, the latest in 2021, under your leadership, when you withdrew troops from Kabul, and that you're committing Kenya to another foreign wars 12,000 kilometers away from Nairobi? I mean, why the discrepancy? Why the dichotomy? While you're ending your forever wars, overseas wars, yet you're committing Kenya to Haiti. Can you explain that?
I think it's a fucking great question, right? And the fact is Biden's answers during this questioning are dog shit. I'll let him say them, but I mean, this question says a lot, right? The fact is the United States has essentially enlisted Kenya to go fight our own dispute, right? We want to deal with Haiti. We want there to be a certain kind of order in Haiti, and instead of sending Americans, which would look bad, they have essentially enlisted, it's hard to say it any other way, black people. You really can't say it any other way. Kenya, right? They got Kenyan police officers to go down to the Caribbean and get Caribbean forces, specifically I think Jamaican and whatever. God, my brain just broke again. But got them to, they are training Caribbean forces to all, and they're all gonna go in to they not even go in now. They're already there. Sorry, I can barely think right now. They're already there, trying to restore order. Their existence there is how they were able to reinstall the puppet government, right? The new president of Haiti, who's not he was not elected either. He was appointed, and so it's just a continuation of the things that Haiti really doesn't seem to want very much. But America doesn't want to be directly involved, so we're using an ally to get things done vicariously through them.
There's a reason why Afghanistan has been known as the graveyard of empires. The likelihood of anybody uniting Afghanistan is highly, highly, highly unlikely, number one. Number two, there are ways to control ISIS other than occupying Afghanistan. It was an unnecessary need. Now, with regard to Haiti, Haiti is in an area of the Caribbean that is very volatile. There's a lot going on in this hemisphere, and we're in a situation where we want to do all we can without us looking like America once again is stepping over and deciding this is what must be done. Haitians are looking for help, as well as the folks in the...
Oh God, it's the worst. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna skip forward to... I think I know where this spot is. I just can't listen to him for an extended period of time. I already listened to this too, so it's bothering me doubly. Actually, might have to put myself through this. How much longer is this? Can I get through 20 more seconds? Oh God.
We're looking for help. And so we checked out with a number of other countries. The one who stepped up was Haiti. We committed to provide the wherewithal, the intelligence and equipment and the like to Haiti. And so it's a logical thing. And you have a first-rate capability, and you keep your word. That's an important dynamic.
Oh, I forgot. It's not this one that I want. Okay, I just wanted to hear this part to get us to the next part, because I think he actually says it in this. I'm not mistaken. Maybe he says it in this next one, or I'm just not listening because I'm also trying to read chat, and then my ADHD is ruining my focus. I don't know. One of the two. This is the same press conference.
First question, Michael Wilner, McClatchy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two questions, if I may, on...
No, one.
I'm going to do my level
Jesus
best
Christ.
on Haiti and on Israel. Your administration went on a worldwide search for security forces, Beninese forces, Bangladeshi, Canadian, Chilean, any but American forces to stand up this multinational security support mission for Haiti before Kenya stood up to lead. Can you explain why it is that you believe on the one hand that this mission is so critical, and on the other, why it is that you have categorically ruled out contributing U.S. forces to this effort? Is it your goal to beat back Haiti's gangs or to contain them? And on Israel, does the United States...
One question. I'll answer your question.
Jesus Christ.
The question with regard to Haiti is, we concluded that for the United States to deploy forces in the hemisphere just raises all kinds of questions that can be easily misrepresented about what we're trying to do, and be able to be used by those who disagree with us and against the interest of Haiti and the United States. So we set out to find a partner or partners who would lead that effort that we would participate in, not with American forces, but with supplies and making sure they had what they needed. And so, you know, I'm very grateful for President Ruto's leadership here, multinational effort, but Kenya's willingness to really lead this matters. You're not the only country, but you're leading this effort. And there's going to be U.S. forces,
It doesn't sound like they're leading it. The way that he's saying, you're leading this effort, it sounds like the United States is very much directing. And it's wild that he in this moment, he tries to pretend like it's not the U.S. pulling all the strings, and is just trying to skirt culpability by, you know, just trying to pull a McKinsey, right? We're just consulting on this. Okay, now let's go a little further south. So you might be aware of a certain Argentinian person by the name of Javier Milei. It's currently the president and resident psycho of their government, well, at least the head resident psycho. And he has written a book, which is just incredible. I can't even believe he's capable of writing a book.
Arguably the greatest work of nonfiction of the 20th century.
But yeah, he's really hyping this thing up. I just thought it'd be kind of funny to watch this fascinating debacle just kind of unfold in front of us. Like, first off, this event does not scream book tour. Am I losing my mind? This says, I don't know, Metallica or something like that. This dude looks really bummed, by the way. And I think he's probably like, considering the tie and all this stuff, my guess is he's probably Argentinian Secret Service or something. He's not having fun.
La batalla cultural hay que darla, tanto en las
cultural
aulas
battle must be
como
fought
en la
in the
política y
classrooms,
en todos
in
lados. No la
politics, and
pueden dejar de
everywhere.
dar en
They
ningún
cannot be
lado,
left
porque
aside
si no,
anywhere
los
because
zurdos nos van a llevar
otherwise the
puesto.
lefties
Entonces la
are going to
única
beat
forma de
us.
defender las
The
ideas de
only
la
way to
libertad
defend the
es
ideas of
peleando
freedom
por ella día a
is
día.
fighting for it
¡Viva la
every
libertad,
day.
carajo!
This guy's a
¡Viva la
fucking
libertad, carajo! ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
This guy says absolutely nothing. He's just such a weird dude. And it's odd that he still has supporters at all. Granted, there's a lot of people who seem to really hate him in Argentina. And we've definitely watched a bunch of rallies against his nonsense ass, but it is kind of weird to see him fill up an entire stadium of people that are just kind of chanting. Very creepy. You would join this book club? Wow. Well, I'm sure they're accepting members. You would think. You probably have to be Argentinian, though. Maybe. can't see it all.
Representaba toda la bronca que teníamos los.
It represents all the anger of all Argentines about Kirchnerism. Wow, she's complaining about Kirchnerism while looking like, oh my god, oh, I can't think of her name, but like she reminds me of an actress right now so much. Oh, god damn it. Oh god. Of course, you support his policies. The rest of everybody who actually counted on Argentina's social services, I think they're thinking differently. Your weird fox scarf is creeping me out, though, so I'm just moving on. Okay. We're gonna leave the Americas and go on to Europe. And I figured we would start off with this. This is from 8 hours ago, where apparently UK's top universities are demonstrating in London. I think simultaneously.
KCL, you got hide! We charge you with genocide! LSD, you got hide!
So I am here as an international student. I just came from the University of Michigan, where our Solidarity encampment was very recently raided. And so I'm in the middle of processing that, and I'm really grateful and inspired to be able to be here at UCL's encampment.
So we are here today because we've organized an inter-uni march. The student movement is not isolated. It's a movement built on solidarity.
I think it's important to come along and support the students taking action on campus, not only against the war in Gaza, but repoliticising university campuses and making them a space for democratic discussion about who controls society and for what ends.
I think it's really incredible to be able to meet organizers and see how people are demanding divestment from their universities all over the world and all over different countries. And now it's really amazing to be here and to see how there are differences, but also how there are things that remain very consistent between nations, and the feeling of camaraderie and liberation.
It's a movement built on community, and it's a movement built on love.
These camps.
Okay, I just think it's really great to see how connected the students have been in this movement, just the community in general. And it's just great to see. I have no other way to put it. Oh, I figured out who I was though. Hold on. I think this is what I meant. Like Jennifer Coolidge. Right, from like Legally Blonde and she's like Stifler's mom, right? In American Pie. I'm trying to think of what else she's in. That's who she reminded me of. I almost want to go back just to look at her again. Now that I have a picture of Jennifer Coolidge in front of me. Alright, whatever. I'm moving on. Alright. So, the UN is going to be voting to commemorate the 1995 genocide in Srebrenica, which is in Kosovo. I just figured we would look at this, as we seem to be talking about this sort of thing all the time, and maybe we'll learn something from history. Never even heard of Jennifer Coolidge. How's that possible?
našu djecu ne mogu nikad moja 3 sina
Our children,
vratiti
I can never get my 3 sons back. Also my husband and grandson. 5 men from my house alone. I'll never get them back, but the stain will remain on the Serbs. What are we supposed to show to prove it? Look at this memorial center here. I wish we finally put a stop to the end of genocide denying, to stop them from glorifying war criminals, that we stop them naming schools and institutions after war criminals. I hope that this resolution, the schools will finally teach a real history so children will learn the truth about what really happened here on July 11th, 1995. Now, if you're not aware, essentially, Bosnians committed ethnic cleansing and genocide against ethnic Serbs in Srebrenica, which was at the near end of the conflict in the what's it called? The like the Kosovo area, if you will, although technically that doesn't encompass the entire area, if I'm being real. But it's been 30 years since then. The UN is deciding to commemorate that, or they are deliberating on that. I think it probably deserves a commemoration. There was documented systematic rapes that essentially nobody denies at this point. Yeah, it's part of the former Yugoslavic state. I was trying to be more specific than Yugoslavia, but yes, that absolutely encompasses the area. I was trying to get somewhere between Kosovo and Yugoslavia. I just didn't do a good job. Anyway, let's move on here. Just wanted to remind us of other tragedies relating to ethnic cleansing as we, I don't know, seem to talk about them all the time. Too much, if you ask me. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was on with Hassan Piker. Interesting. I did not see that. Maybe depending on how we do time-wise, we'll see. Maybe I'll watch that. Now, let's look at this from 12 hours ago on the AP, reporting that Russian missiles have killed at least 6 in the Kharkiv region in the last day, as Moscow troops continue to press on in the region. According to them, from what we've heard in the past, they're trying to establish a supposed buffer zone, which is just, you know, comprised of Ukraine. Well, that is still happening. So we're gonna keep looking at it. It is wild. That shit has been going on for way too long. And if you start from 2014, or whatever that was, it's been like 10 years, right? Needs to end. That shit just needs to stop. It's a decade. It's a decade of war. Granted, some of the fighting subsided between then and 2022, but you know, it's just wildly fucked. It needs to end. And it's been the most destructive war in Europe since World War II. And it's not what humanity needs when we're also dealing with fucking climate change right now. So I think Putin needs to chill his fucking dick. Okay, what's next? This is from 7 hours ago. Yeah, let's talk about this. This is, we discussed this a little bit, I want to say a couple of days ago maybe, but the Singapore airline flight, at this point now, has left 20 passengers still in the ICU and 22 passengers with spinal injuries.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the announcement from Wobegon Hospital today.
The number of inpatients that we've received is 41 in total. Of the 41 patients, we found that 22 sustained spinal and spinal cord related injuries. 6 sustained skull and brain injuries. And 13 have injuries to their bones, muscles, and other organs. Some of the patients may have more than one injury. We count the most severe injury as the base. Aside from injuries sustained by dozens during a period of turbulence, a 73-year-old British man with an alleged heart condition died aboard the flight.
If your question is permanent paralysis, I can say that it's too early to say that it's permanent or not. We have to observe the response of the treatment, that after surgery, does the muscle function.
You have to get on a flight tomorrow? Well, just keep your seatbelt fastened the whole time, and we'll keep our fingers crossed the whole time as well. Do not leave your fucking seat, pal. Considering everything that's been happening, I mean, God. Yeah, I gave away all my worldly possessions, and they're all gone now. It's basically floating in space now.
Recover, not. So we have to observe that.
No information from Singapore at all. Not a single word.
And you need to sort things out pretty quickly.
I need to know. I'm going through my insurance. I got no idea. I'm totally in limbo. My wife's in ICU. She's in ICU, needs a medevac.
And you need...
I got a chipped tooth and had some hurt to my neck.
Shit is wild. We've been talking about too many plane incidents this year. It is out of fucking control.
Everything was fine until I arrived back in the airport, and then I started feeling really sick, vomiting. Couldn't stop vomiting, couldn't walk, and yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah, but there were lots of people in worse positions than me. People were laying out on the floor and they couldn't move. They were completely paralysed. I'm lucky. A lot of people have got some spinal issues from hitting their head and then kind of connecting back down. So they've had quite a few scans. I've heard a lot of people can barely move their back. I'm very fortunate to be able to walk and
just wild. The accounts, the what we've seen. I mean, because we've looked at this, I think a couple of times now. We saw pictures of people like people's head imprints in the ceiling of this fucking plane, and you listen to this guy describing some of the injuries, and you're like, yeah, that fucking checks out. It makes it makes me scared for anybody going on a plane right now. Oh God! All right, we're gonna move on to something much sunnier. Much sunnier. Nope. Take it back. Let's go to this. Further east and also south. Actually, I've done this in a weird order. Why is this here? Hold. Please hold. This shouldn't be here. I'm moving this. Talk about that later. That shouldn't be there. Okay, there we go. Alright, now I've got everything in the right place. Okay. This is from 16 hours ago, where Taiwan's president, Lai Ching-te, has vowed to protect the island amid China's military drills. Which they've definitely been doing. Everybody's been doing military drills in this fucking tiny area. Well, not tiny, but very specific geography. Specifically the South China Sea. And, what's the other one up there? The Taiwanese Strait. And then there's one other one that I can't think of right now. Oh, Philippines. Oh, sorry, I'm not reading, though. And why is this doing this to me? No, do not do this. Don't play. Do not play.
Don't even play.
Okay, hold on. I have to get this in the right spot. I tried to move shit and I totally fucked myself. Also, how did something happened to this list. I dispute the way this list is set up right now. I fully dispute this list. Either way, we're going to go to what I said we're going to. So we're going to Taiwan. Then we're going to do a little bit of circuitous movement around Greater Asia. As the commander-in-chief of the three armed forces, my responsibility is to protect our country and safeguard the lives and property of our people. I will stand on the front line with my brothers and sisters in the National Army to jointly safeguard national security. At this moment, the international community is paying close attention to democratic Taiwan, and in the face of external challenges and crises, we will continue the values of democracy and safeguard regional peace and stability. Okay. Yeah, and I don't think any of us can really blame Taiwan for just wanting security and to be remaining independent of interference. Okay. Now, like I said, we're going to take a little bit of a circuitous route through Asia here that makes little to zero sense, and I apologize for that ahead of time. Now, let's look at this from 23 hours ago, where Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei has met with the Hamas leader, Hania, in Tehran. How a small group defeated a large group. By Allah's will, you are a small group that has managed to defeat a large group, including America, NATO, Britain, and some others, so that other promise, namely the elimination of Israel, is feasible. The formation of Palestine from the river to the sea, God willing, we'll see that day come too. Now, my feeling is that they're concerned about potentially these ICC warrants coming to pass and trying to get some meetings. And because Hania of Hamas it made multiple meetings in the same very short period of time. I think it was like within like 3 or 4 hours. I think partly because to get to some of these places, you would have to enter different people's airspaces and would, I think then, I'm trying to think. I don't know if that technically puts you under jurisdiction under international law. I think you might be. I'm pretty sure, actually. Okay, let's see. Let's go to this next one. Where, once again, we did not set this up. The Galactic team today, and by Galactic team I mean myself. Let's listen to China's response to, and actually no. This is why. This is why I should always double check my list before I start. This is what Taiwan's president responded to. These are the drills that China was doing for 2 days, and it should have been. We should have watched this before the other one. And it's basically on me for that.
Lai Ching-te has been Taiwan's president for less than a week, but Chinese leaders have already judged him to be a threat to Beijing and its goal of one day claiming control of the self-governed island. In response, they've launched 2 days of intensive military drills around Taiwan. The Chinese People's Liberation Army says the joint sea and air exercises focus on combat readiness, controlling the battlefield, and precision strikes on key targets. State media say their purpose is clear.
This is a strong punishment for the separatist acts of Taiwan independence forces.
The so-called separatist acts refer to Lai's comments during his inauguration on Monday.
I hope China will face the reality of the Republic of China's existence and respect the choices of people of Taiwan.
That choice.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And it's a little aggressive, if you ask me. Okay, now to go south, let's look at a few different stories here. First, in Burma, where, I guess actually this is in Thailand, but it's discussing Burmese people, because young Burmese people are fleeing Burma to avoid being conscripted into the Burmese military amidst the ongoing conflict in that area right now between Burma, Myanmar, and separatist Myanmar forces. It's, yeah. Anyway, let's just start here. We'll try and get further into it.
thousands are fleeing civil war in Myanmar. These Burmese civilians have spent hours at this border post, hoping to seek refuge in Thailand. On the other side of this bridge, pro-democracy rebels have spent days on the offensive against the Burmese junta.
There are many bombings on the Burmese side. Non-stop explosions.
But bombs are not the only concern for these young Burmese men.
We're afraid because the Burmese army came to our homes to check who was recruitable. We don't want to be enlisted because we've heard that the military beats young recruits and sends them to the front lines without weapons.
On the other side of the border, Myanmar's rulers recently introduced mandatory military service. At the start of April, 13 million young Burmese became eligible for conscription. An entire generation is desperate to find a way out. We managed to secretly enter Myanmar for a few hours to talk to these would-be exiles. The country remains off-limits to foreign journalists.
If we can't avoid conscription, we risk dying in the war. Everyone is worried, whether they're in big cities like Rangoon or small villages. We don't want to be forced to kill other Burmese. If the army had caught me, I would probably be dead by now.
That seems like a very reasonable request from this seemingly young man here who just doesn't want to kill other Burmese people, either for their particular ethnicity or alignment with whatever group currently engaged in the fighting right now. As there's multiple. Alright, what am I doing? Myanmar and Burma are interchangeable? Yes. Correct. And sometimes I just go wild with it, and I should chill on that. I should definitely chill on that. Okay, I think it's partly because I just hate saying the exact same thing over and over again, and so for the sake of word variety, sometimes I only make things worse. And I apologize for that. Alright, let's move on to this, where the Malaysian Prime Minister defended his meeting with Hamas. So this is the other meeting I was talking about. Within the last 24 hours, both Malaysia and Iran met with Hamas leadership.
But we call for ceasefire and peaceful resolution and respecting the two-state solution, because that will ultimately ensure the peace.
Yeah, so according to Malaysia, they just want to help promote peace, and hopefully that's the case, and they help in some quantifiable way. I'll even accept an unquantifiable way. As long as there's some result soon, that's really all I care about. Peace, please. Okay. Alright, I'll be right back. I need to hit the space bathroom real quick. I'm back. Alright, let's look once again at a little place known as New Caledonia, which, if you're unaware, is on the east coast of Australia, but is actually an 1800s French colony. However, there has been a great deal of unrest there over a new French law, which has been described as essentially 21st century colonialism, and which dilutes the native Kanak population's vote down drastically to the point where they would be a minority vote in their own country. French President Emmanuel Macron has recently arrived there in essentially in tow of French troops which have already arrived to New Caledonia to quell the native population. Now, we talked about yesterday how it is very similar to something that France did in the 80s, where they also sent French troops and killed nearly 100 local Kanak people in order to get their territory back under control. A lot of this going on. Haiti, New Caledonia. This is loud as fuck. It just broke my ears. Was the music making you feel like little crazy pills? I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
All right. Since we've talked about this quite a lot lately, I'm not going to go too much more into this situation. I just want to look at this drone footage of New Caledonia from above, perhaps obviously. So this, you can kind of see the blockades down there. And I believe that an apartment building or some sort of government, actually it might have been a government building, you can see down there, which is currently smoking. Now, I would point out that the arrival of Emmanuel Macron is actually somewhat shocking because no other planes have been entering or leaving New Caledonia, I believe, for at least a few days now. I think they shut down all flights when they sent the military in originally, if I'm not mistaken. The Shining music. I thought that it was kind of it reminded me, who knows, anybody know BioShock? Have you ever played that game? That's what that music reminds me of. Alright, now we're gonna start talking about Israel and Palestine here. However, we're taking a little bit of a weird tangent today. It's not even that weird, because we often talk about protests that are happening around this time. But it's gonna be a slightly weird tangent, because something happened in Congress that has forced me and my hand. So we're gonna look at that in a second, but first let's look at this. This is from 11 hours ago. Coming out of CBC News, a look at campus movements throughout history. You love BioShock?
Students are often at the forefront of movements like this.
And we've seen movements like this on university and college campuses before for other reasons.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, we have. Yeah.
There were campus both during the Occupy movement of the sort of earlier in the century of 2011, and then there were the shanty towns and sit-ins outdoors of the anti-apartheid struggle in the mid-1980s. So this has happened before. It's not a new tactic.
And how would you compare what's happening now to the encampments against apartheid, for example?
Well, I think this has spread much more quickly because of social media. In the mid-'80s, there really wasn't social media the way there is now. So I think it's caught on much more quickly. Also, interestingly, in the mid-1980s, there wasn't initially the kind of repression there was here. So it didn't make the news quite the same way. They had to sit in outside the offices in Columbia and then at Berkeley for weeks before anything, before there's any kind of attempt to try to arrest them. So there wasn't a...
No, I'm pretty sure he's not suggesting that there wasn't a crackdown at all by police, but that it took longer because the movement took longer to grow. Because I think we are all pretty well aware of how much crackdowns happened during the 80s on the anti-apartheid movement. Just took some time.
Dramatic stories of repression that called the movements to the attention of other campuses all over the country.
There was a much more universal condemnation of apartheid in South Africa, and in this issue, we see a lot more fracturing and calls for government leaders to support Israel, government leaders saying they will support Israel.
But this movement, because of the pressure on college presidents and popularity of the cause, has made university administrations much more eager to get rid of the protests and to show that they're being tough. So there's been a kind of erosion, I think, of free speech on campus compared to the 1980s or even in the 1960s.
Well, talk to me about the 1960s and the protests.
I think this compared to the 60s is smaller. We're talking about the late 60s when there was a mass anti-war movement, even into 1970. And the benchmark I use is May 1970, which was the largest mobilization of students in American history.
And it's the war in Vietnam.
Yeah, the war in Vietnam, after President Nixon, who came into office pledging to had a secret plan to end the war. So the idea is he's going to end the war. Instead, he expanded the war into Cambodia. And that caused a lot of outrage on college campuses. And then as part of those protests, there were some really militant protests, nothing like that has gone on today, where on several, over probably about 2 dozen campuses, ROTC buildings were torched. That hasn't happened. And one of the campuses where that happened was Kent State. And a few days later, a kind of very rigid conservative Nixon supporter, James Rhodes, who's running for re-election to governor, sent in the National Guard to suppress the protests. And the students came out anyway, and they ended up, 4 of them got killed by the Guard and 9 were wounded. So this movement today, first of all, you have to remember that the war had escalated in Vietnam in 1965, 5 years later.
Well, the fact is protests have always been getting cracked down on, right? For a long, long, long time, right? It's just the visibility isn't always there, right? And it's not always as noticeable, right, in the public eye. But anyways, I just wanted to watch this just to kind of get some quick historical context before we move into what we're about to look at next. But mean, the fact is, like he was saying, I think he said it already. Multiple campuses had buildings burnt down to the ground, right, or nearly. And yeah, nothing like that has happened at these protests, and yet the crackdown on these protesters, even though they've been peaceful, has been completely just heavy-handed and unnecessary. Both governments and the schools have been complicit. Okay, now this one's gonna bug people, I'm pretty sure, and I'm sorry for that. It also bugged me, which is why we're gonna talk about it, because I have some things to say. But I don't know who this dickhead is. I feel like I've heard of him before, but so tangentially that right now I'm having to Google him. Kevin Kiley, 3rd Congressional District of California, which is, I guess, where is that? Oh, it's like the desert. Okay, it's like the border of Nevada. That is what his district is. He is a Republican, and he had the what do you call it? I think they're the board. That's what I want to say. The board and the president, or at least the president of Northwestern University, among other representatives from that school, to Congress to discuss the idea of institutionalized anti-Semitism. And this shit is fucking, this is so dumb.
President Hallway, is physically blocking students from entering your campus based on their race, religion, or ethnicity an expellable offense?
I'm sorry, could you, the very beginning of the question.
Is physically blocking students from entering your campus based on their race, religion, or ethnicity an expellable offense?
That's certainly a violation of our university standards.
Is it an
I'm sorry, I gotta go back. I gotta stop making fun of Daffy Duck here.
Is physically blocking students from entering your campus based on their race, religion, or ethnicity an expellable offense?
That's certainly a violation of our university standards, sir.
Is it an expellable offense?
Potentially it would be, sir. It would depend on the circumstance of that specific instance.
President Schill, is excluding students, blocking students from entering campus based on their race, religion, or ethnicity an expellable offense at your university?
Okay, so these are presidents of a bunch of different universities.
Violation of our conduct code.
Is it an expellable offense?
I'm sorry?
Is it an expellable offense to physically obstruct students from entering campus?
A range of disciplines
is it
up to and including being expelled.
Can you say the word
for violation.
expellable, please? My God.
Is physically stopping students from entering your campus based on their race, religion, or ethnicity an expellable offense?
Again, there's a disciplinary process for students. It could be.
Can we please play a video?
Everybody, look at this. Look at this. I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school. And they're not letting me walk in. My class is over there. I want to use that entrance.
Okay, now many of you have probably seen this video, so we're not going to watch the whole thing. Literally nothing happens, aside from these people continuing to stand in the same spot that they're currently standing in here. And he basically, maybe we'll just, fuck it, maybe we'll watch it. It's like 10 seconds longer, but he basically makes a big deal about how they're standing there, and he's acting like...
You let me go in. This could be over in a second. Just let me and my friends go in to class.
Now, okay, yeah, we actually are going to watch this. So this is important, right? So here he points back, and you can see him motion left to right, saying, my friends, right? So he's got multiple people with him, right? And he's saying, me and my friends want to come here right now. Now, I can't tell whether or not his friends are also students here. He doesn't make that clear. But you'll notice that they're not visible for any of the video.
We're not engaging. Then you can move. Will you move?
We're not engaging.
Okay, we're going. We're going. I'm going in. I have my hands up. I'm not hurting them.
So he just kind of like turns his back and dives into these people who are standing there, right? You can see it. They're standing there. He's like, okay, and then he just dives into them, right?
Okay, we're going. We're going.
He just starts pushing through them, right? Okay. That's basically it. This guy, Kevin Kiley, continues to make a huge deal about it for quite a while, claiming that these presidents are allowing anti-Semitism to be on their campuses, that Jewish students aren't being allowed onto campus. Now, I would point out that I've been paying pretty close attention to this. This is the only actual example that I've seen where somebody was supposedly being kept from campus because they were Jewish. But, you know, because of Kevin Kiley here bringing this up to me, I just felt like I had to look into this thing just a little bit more, right? Because I'd heard some things about him in the past, like in relation to this, like some people talking about it, but I just felt like we had to look at this even more, right? Hold on. Where is this? 'Cause I have it somewhere. Okay, there it is. Now, I don't use, there's a platform called Instagram. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. I don't use it very much, but I was forced to use it today to try and do some of this research. So this is the kid we were just, well, student, not a kid, he's an adult. He's an adult. This student, who is a UCLA student, this is him. He is a supposed actor, and he is in fact an actor. I did notice he has some stuff going on. Now, as you might notice here, next to these this picture in the bottom of him, this is also on his Instagram. But you can see to the left of him, he's standing on an IDF tank, right? This is from, I think, 2021, as well as this one, where he took a trip to Israel, and he's posing with IDF soldiers in, I believe, Jerusalem. Now, here is him. You can see him standing here on this light pole, wearing an Israeli and appears to be an American flag at the same time, doing a very sweet Chud Bro hand motion. Now, if you can't read it, it says November 7th, 2023. That's when this was posted. So this was exactly 1 month after October 7th. He was at his school making a big fuss about this situation. So for months and months, he's been doing this, right? Now you see up here, these are more recent photos, but you can, if we think back to the video we just watched, where he was talking about quote unquote his friends, and he motioned back behind the camera, and we didn't get to see who those people were. You see them here now, standing with him. I took a few of his photos and put them next to each other. You can see this girl to his right, she's holding an Israeli flag, and someone to his left is also holding an Israeli flag with some sort of a yellow fringe on it. So now, this could be false, what I'm saying right now, and I just would urge people to, take that grain of salt with this, but I am making a correlation here to that, from that video to these pictures that we're looking at. These might be the friends he's talking about, and you would think that that sort of context would come into play, right? It wasn't just Jewish students. This kid is clearly coming to this. I'm sorry, I keep calling him a kid. He's an adult. This student keeps going to these protests with adorned in Israeli flags, intending to cause trouble, right? Or at least to be a counter-protester, which puts him in an adversarial position to the protesters. It's pretty obvious. You can figure that one out, no problem, right? So if his friends, the ones that he was, it would seem that most of what actually happened was left out of that video, potentially, when you really think about it. And right now, Congress is trying to use it as evidence that anti-Semitism is rampant on schools. And I doubt that they did any of this research, or if they did, they just don't really care to make any sort of distinctions in this matter. And I find that to be pretty disturbing. Because this kid isn't just, the student doesn't appear to be just like walking around, just not bothering anyone. He seems to be intentionally going there to bother the protesters themselves. So, you know, I hate using the word agitator, but that is what it seems like he is, to some degree, just based upon the cold hard definition of that word. So, just to drive this even further home, let's look at this context from 3 weeks ago, which was posted by a very pro-Israeli YouTube channel called Stand With Us, where he supposedly schooled a UCLA professor. So once again, it's pretty clear this guy isn't just Jewish, right? He is standing on top of a fucking fountain with you know, a full-size Israeli flag, waving it around and yelling at teachers. This woman that he's talking to is a professor.
This is a professor here at UCLA University.
Yes, I am.
Hold on, we have to listen at least to this first thing he says, which is fucking just wildly genocidal sounding. This dude's a eugenicist.
I'm talking about the truth. It's a genocide. What's your problem?
You clearly don't know what the definition of a genocide is.
I don't know.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is a professor.
I don't know what the
at
definition of a
UCLA.
genocide is.
She doesn't know the definition of a genocide.
What is the definition? Yeah, tell me. It's a Greek name. It comes from Genos, which is Genos, and Genoctonia. It's like the killing of.
Ooh, get owned. You just happen to know all of the root words that the word is based on. Huh, weird. I thought this was entitled He Gets Schooled.
Whole nation.
Okay,
That's what it means.
then why has the Palestinian population number only been increasing?
So why has the population of Palestine only been increasing? Do you hear this little Hitler? This dude is a goddamn eugenicist, okay? The only people that use that sort of argument are straight up, like, just Nazis, okay? I don't care how inflammatory that word might be. But if you're trying to say a genocide can't happen because over a period of time, not including the time that you're talking about, the population went up slightly, that is somehow, it's just like, wow, dude. Like, this dude right here, if anything, this dude is an anti-Semite, okay? This shit is fucked. Anyway, that's the person that Congress is using as an example of a victim of anti-Semitism. Remember that. This dude could very well be declared as a victim. So just remember that. According to the sort of anti-Semitism speech laws and all these other sorts of things that they're doing right now, that are clearly just circumventing the actual definitions of anti-Semitism, it's just problematic, as you can maybe imagine after watching those videos just now. Okay. And I was considering also watching this, but I think we get it. I did have, he made an appearance on Fox News, he made an appearance on a bunch of different channels. You don't see a whole lot of other Jewish pro-Palestinian, or any, going on any major news networks, but he got a full show, or what do you call it, a full tour of all the media networks for a full week, about like, I think it was 3 weeks ago. Anyways, we're going to skip that one, because I just can't deal with any more of his bullshit. What's next? Okay, yeah, let's look at this one. This is from 17 hours ago from France 24. Where, according to them, and actually not them, I can't remember, who is this? Shit, I cannot remember her name. But the guest that they have on says, this is the moment to make peace, in reference to Palestine.
Norway, Ireland, and Spain together recognizing a Palestinian state. It's a largely symbolic move, but it further deepens Israel's isolation. Well, joining us now, Palestinian Ambassador Hala Abu Hasira, head of the Palestinian mission to France. Thank you for being with us here.
Thank you for the invitation.
On France 24. This had been in the works for a while. Comes the same week as the arrest warrant requests by the ICC's chief prosecutor. Your reaction?
Very positively. We highly welcome the recognition by Ireland, Norway, and Spain today of the Palestinian state. A recognition that comes in coherence with the engagement of these states and with the collectively the international community towards the recognition of the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and to preserve the two-state solution. Solution that has been advocated for so long, advocated by the whole of the international community. It's about time. Today was the moment that collectively these countries recognize the state of Palestine, of the Palestinian people right to exist, of his national identity, and to say it's the moment to make peace. It's the moment to stop the aggression, and that there is no solution, military solution to the Palestinian question. The only solution would be political and should be political.
Now, what we're seeing.
Now, this woman is the ambassador and the head of the Palestinian mission to France. And she's saying this completely in, you know, whatever, paradox with, oh God, sorry. Completely just the opposite of what we're told in the mainstream media all the time, especially in America, that Palestinians don't want peace or whatever else, and yet here we have the ambassador saying we need peace now, this is the time for peace, and we need more peace, please.
And we heard analysts on this very set 24 hours ago warning that this increased pressure on Israel may lead to the opposite effect. The government of Benjamin Netanyahu doubling down, and we saw it today with his far-right security minister going to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, with Mr. Smotrich freezing tax revenues for the West Bank. Is this going to make things worse before they make it better?
Israel has been doing this for 76 years already, since it's began at the Palestinian Nakba, and it began its ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. The colonization has been expanding at an unprecedented level, even before October.
Facts. But at some point during the interview, she says that there is absolutely no military solution to the Palestinian question. It must be done diplomatically, through peace talks and through democracy and other governmental legal means, and not with bullets and bombs and missiles. Yelling. Maybe some yelling. but none of the rest of the stuff. Anyway, let's go on here to this next one, just to further kind of talk about this in terms of what happened in the last 24 hours, where Ireland, Spain, and Norway all have officially declared that they will recognize a Palestinian state and do whatever it is necessary to do so legally.
For external actors like those states in Europe that made this move today, they are trying to, I want to say, make the conflict a bit more symmetric, if you will, to take away this dynamic of an occupier occupied, and at least have a statehood status for Palestine to work with. That's important on the ground for negotiations, and it's increasingly important in international institutions as well. Going ahead and making this move already is really endorsing Palestinian statehood in a meaningful way. It's showing symbolic solidarity on the one hand, but even more importantly, it's really trying to put pressure on the parties to bring the war to an end, and on Netanyahu in particular to start articulating a longer-term vision for Palestine that includes a two-state solution. It's a week, I think, for Israel where Israelis and certainly Israeli leadership feels increasingly isolated internationally, perhaps ganged up on internationally, and really feel somewhat backed into a corner. I do think
ganged up on. That is what she said, right? Am I losing my mind? She did say Israel, right? Because it seems completely just in contravention with the facts.
I don't want reality.
Ganged up on. Okay. The ICC should set up an ambush and then arrest and detain Bibbs. An ambush. Okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Like hide behind like a wall or like like a tree. And then just kind of like jump out and kind of scare him into a net. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, in practice, will it work? Who's to say? Okay, how far are we into this puppy? 3 hours. 3 hours. Alright, we're gonna go straight to this then. Let's listen to Democracy Now! Get into this discussion about the recognition of Palestine as a state.
Spain, Ireland, and Norway say they will officially recognize an independent Palestinian.
Oh, wait. Before we do that, let's listen to this. Because I don't want to ruin what we're going to watch next by watching this after. So, Netanyahu apparently got wind of Ireland and Norway and Spain recognizing Palestine as a state. He didn't like that, so he went on the TV and told us he had things to say about that. So let's listen to that.
הכוונה של מספר מדינות באירופה להכיר במדינה פלסטינית היא פרס לטרור. 80% מהפלסטינים ביהודה ושומרון תומכים בטבח הנורא של 7 באוקטובר.
Terrorism. Oh God. What? Crazy.
לרוע הזה אסור לתת מדינה. זאת תהיה מדינת טרור, היא תנסה לבצע שוב.
Wait, what did he say? 80% of the Palestinians in Judea and Samaria support the terrible massacre of October 7th. Dude, are You dumb?
זה אסור לתת מדינה.
This evil must not be given a country. This will be a terrorist state. It will try to repeatedly carry out the massacre of October 7th. Well, I'd point out you've repeatedly carried out the massacre of October 7th on just on Palestinians, day in, day out for 7 months. I think that also makes you a terrorist state, and if we go along with your reasoning, that evil also shouldn't be given a country. But I don't know. I'm just some dumb guy in a spaceship. What do I fucking know? Alright, now let's listen to some sense from Democracy Now!
This news is funded by viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give. In an historic move, leaders from Ireland, Norway, and Spain announced Wednesday they will formally recognize Palestine as an independent state May 28th. Israel responded by recalling its ambassadors from each of the countries. Norway's Prime Minister, Jonas Gahr Støre, spoke in Oslo Tuesday.
There can be no peace in the Middle East without Palestinians and Israelis having their own states, and that there is a two-state solution. There cannot be a two-state solution without a Palestinian state. And in other words, peace in the Middle East requires a Palestinian state.
Ireland's new Prime Minister, Simon Harris, referenced Ireland's own history of emerging from colonial rule as he announced recognition of a Palestinian state.
This is an historic and important day for Ireland and for Palestine. Taking our place on the world stage and being recognised by others as having the right to be there was a matter of the highest importance for the founders of our state.
Ireland, Norway, and Spain will join 143 other nations recognizing Palestine as a state. While Israel denounced the three nations, Palestinians in Gaza welcomed the move. This is Mahmoud Bajer al-Aswad, a displaced Palestinian speaking in Rafah.
This is a great thing. We hope other countries will recognize the Palestinian state, as Spain did recently, and Norway and Ireland. We have the right to live like other countries, to have a state, and to live in freedom like other countries in the world.
On the streets of Dublin, supporters of the move to recognize Palestine as a state spoke of Ireland's long history of solidarity with Palestinians.
Yeah, I think Palestine should be recognised as a state. I think Ireland and Palestine have a lot of conjoined history, and we've been oppressed by similar groups and things in the past.
Yeah, some would say the same group.
See the correlation there, then they either don't know what it is to be Irish, they don't understand enough about Irish history.
We go now to Dublin, where we're joined by Catherine Connolly, independent member of the Irish Parliament. Welcome to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Can you start off by talking about the significance of this move, and was there any opposition?
Amy, thank you very much for having me, and congratulations on your work. And I very much welcome the decision taken by our government in our name to recognise the state of Palestine, along with two other countries, Norway and Spain. And next Tuesday will be historical when we raise the Palestinian flag on the grounds of our parliament, known as the Dáil. Was there any opposition to this? Absolutely not. In fact, a lot of us would feel frustrated that it has taken so long, but not to take from the momentousness of the decision. It's a very good day for Ireland that we finally stopped the rhetoric and took the first step in a series of actions that I believe must be taken. And that first step is to recognise the state of Palestine.
And can you talk about what those steps are that you think must follow this recognition that will happen officially on May 28th, next Tuesday?
Yes, well, we have a Shannon Airport, an international airport, and for many years now, I and my colleagues have been highlighting the fact that American weapons, the American Army, are freely going through this airport. And we have raised it consistently in the Parliament, and we've been given reassurances by the government that there are no arms, and that we should get the evidence and bring it to the government, and then they'll do something about it. That's an impossibility. Many have tried, actually, many courageous people, and some have gone to prison for their efforts in their attempts to get evidence to show what's happening. But the duty is on the government to inspect those planes. They don't do that, and they've taken the reassurances of the American government that no weaponry is going through Shannon. So that's one action. The second action is to enact the Occupied Territories Bill, which would ban any Israeli produce from the occupied territories. That bill is in being since 2018, brought by a courageous senator, Senator Francis Black, and that was 2018, and 6 years later, we still haven't enacted that. Then there's also the European Trade Agreement, which contains a relatively strong human rights clause, and we should be forcing the EU to act on that clause and stop trading with Israel.
Absolutely.
I wanted to play for you the Israeli Foreign Affairs Minister recalling Israel's ambassador to Ireland, Dana Ehrlich. Speaking to News Talk, Ambassador Ehrlich said Ireland's recognition of a Palestinian state is a prize for terrorism.
Oh, God.
How does this help the people of Gaza? Today, waking up to this news, how does this help them under the Hamas regime, brutal, cynical regime that they have been dealing with? The fact that...
Here, I have an idea. Here, I'm just going to throw my... Because she's asking, so I'm going to answer that question. How does this help the people of Gaza? Well, first thing that comes to mind is the fact that Israel has essentially not recognized them. No one has recognized them for decades. And having 3 Western EU countries all simultaneously throw their support behind those very people who have been deprived of those that recognition, I would say is a step in the right direction. Not sure what her assessment is.
Cynical regime that they have been dealing with. The fact that about half an hour after this announcement, a Hamas official has welcomed and congratulated the statement, saying that these recognitions are the direct result of the brave so-called resistance, they call it, the October 7th massacre, and the war that they launched since. So the fact that Hamas is welcoming this step, the fact that Iran is welcoming this step is a clear sign that this is seen as a prize for terrorism.
Oh, I see.
Catherine Connolly, can you...
So anything Hamas likes is bad. Champagne is bad. Candy, bad. Food, bad. Whatever, I don't know what Hamas likes, honestly. I don't know anybody from Hamas personally. I assume they like a lot of normal human stuff. All of it's bad. So everybody start writing stuff down that you think Hamas might like and stop liking it right now, please. Because that's how you're supposed to live your life and also determine international law.
Respond to the Israeli ambassador calling this a prize for terrorism.
I prefer not to respond to the Israeli ambassador because she's had access to our airwaves for a very long time and she's failed to learn anything. But what I would say is this is not a prize for terrorism. This is a step for peace. And we can't have peace without recognizing that Palestine has a right to exist. So has Israel. I'm on record for condemning outright the attack by Hamas on the 7th of October. But history did not start on the 7th of October. And if I may, I'm not sure how much time I have, but I know you've interviewed Daniel Levy, and something he said resonated with me. And I have it here that it's possible to hold on to 3 truths simultaneously. One, the militant attack on Israeli civilians was unconscionable, inhumane, and in violation of international law. Truth number 2, Israel's collective punishment against Palestinian civilian and its actions in Gaza are unconscionable, inhumane, and in violation of international law. And truth number 3, one must address the context of the occupation and apartheid in which this is unfolding if one is to maintain integrity and be...
I just gotta say this, okay? It makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I hear somebody, like a leader of, political leader saying that history didn't start on October 7th. I go like this in my head. Like I'm genuinely thrown. Like, what? Somebody recognizes that history didn't start on October 7th? Get the fuck out. That's ridiculous. I'm living in some sort of crazy world.
To plot a strategy going forward in which both Palestinians and Israelis can live in freedom and security. So what we have done here is not a reward for terrorism. We know we have lived with violence in this country, and certainly the people in Northern Ireland. We know what that does to social cohesion and to creating hatred and long-term intergenerational trauma. We have experience in that. We also have experience as a colonized country. And in fact, just over 100 years ago, last year, 100 years ago, we fought our way onto the international stage to join the League of Nations at the time. Such was the importance of the recognition of Ireland as a state. We were a free state while still part of the British Dominion. So what
arguably the greatest work of nonfiction of the 20th century.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense why Ireland wouldn't, or would feel some amount of solidarity with Palestine. It really does. It's so low how it's sad how low the bar for morality and humanity is right now. You're right. You're right. It is. It is. It's very sad. I don't know what else to do aside from just to keep pointing at the bar. That's all I have in my sleeve. Maybe that's because I'm wearing short sleeves. It's kind of hot in the space station right now. Okay, let's look at this. I'm going to start in the West Bank. Where medics are treating injured as Israeli forces conduct another raid on the West Bank in the city of GNN. Ridiculous. The fact is, this should outrage the West Bank attacks should outrage the international community as much and as what's happening in Gaza, because it's outright accepted. It's been accepted that, you know, like the West Bank is an occupied territory, right? Shit is ridiculous. And like the fact that they're doing this, I'm sorry I keep stopping it, but the fact that they're doing this right now, when they keep talking about Hamas, every fucking second, I hear the word Hamas 10,000 times a day because of mostly, you know, Israeli spokespeople and other sort of media figures just never forgetting to say the word Hamas. And yet they're in the West Bank where Hamas does not operate or govern, and yet basically the whole international community just pretends like it's not happening. Alright, not the whole community. Just a lot of people bothering me. Jesus Christ. This fucking guy right here is like literally bleeding to death, potentially. I don't know what happened to that man after this video. It cuts out after the fucking van drives away. But he seems to be bleeding enough that, it's life-threatening. Let's look more at this Israeli military operation in Rafah. Not Rafah. Fuck. God. In West Bank. It just, you know what it feels like to me? Like, honestly. Like, it just feels like, because they're getting, you know, so much pushback about Rafah. Obviously, I'm being pretty fucking sarcastic right now a little bit about that, but because they're getting some amount of pushback about Rafah, they just seem to be trying to find something else to fucking bomb or destroy that is, I don't know, just vaguely Palestinian in any way. And seems like West Bank's the current target of Israel's deferred focus.
Buildings, streets, infrastructure, all of this was destroyed. The Jenin camp and the social center, they were also destroyed. The fourth or fifth time, in addition to the rest of the institutions operating in the camp. That is wild. Fourth or fifth time. God damn it. But seriously, fourth or fifth time that they've rebuilt this infrastructure for the fucking refugee camp. It's not even a, what do you call it? A permanent structure. A refugee camp is, by definition, impermanent. And somehow, I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure Jenin's been there for a long, long time, but it hasn't just been. History didn't start on October 7th. But I guess my point is that it's just wild that the infrastructure for a goddamn refugee camp has had to be rebuilt 5 times. What? The only health center in the camp was also destroyed. And existing medicines destroyed too. It is one of the institutions that went out of service.
واحد من المؤسسات الموجودة في المخيم اللي خرجت فعلا عن الخدمة.
And then a shot of a bunch of kids that are living under this goddamn tyranny. Terror. Please stop it now. Thank you. Whoever's listening. Just kidding, I know that. It's probably a request in vain. Okay. Now, this was slightly after that last video that we watched, where apparently Israel's forces have withdrawn from that area around Jenin.
Israeli forces have withdrawn from the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. They killed 12 Palestinians during their 2-day raid. The Palestinian Health Ministry says 5 children were among the dead. Dozens were injured, including a journalist and ambulance crews. And dozens of Jenin residents have been arrested. Let's get more on the situation in the occupied West Bank. Nadat Brahim is joining us.
You're right. I do knock a lot of stuff off of the table. So it's just a very cramped space here. Limited space on the space station. And so, yeah, I think that sometimes it makes it a little unwieldy. Things get in the way. And then, well, results are in front of you. No dice, literally.
Ramallah, tell us more about the aftermath of this raid in Jenin, Nadat.
Well, Palestinians are still assessing the damage caused by the Israeli forces that have stayed in the refugee camp for more than 38 hours straight. We're talking about 3 homes that have been completely destroyed, demolished, but there are damages to other homes where the Israeli forces used to go and move inside the camp through holes from one home to another. This is not something new. We've seen the Israeli forces use this tactic before because we're talking about a crowded refugee camp and homes are very close to one another. It's interesting to note that the
I think the thing about this for me that is the most bothersome, right? Beyond like the fact, I mean, I'm super bothered by all of it, but the fact is that Israel continues to claim that settlers are somehow like not of the government. They're 2 different entities, right? But I can guarantee you that the places that Israel's bombing and attacking with tanks or whatever else are probably going to be turned into settlements in a very short period of time. They've been doing it in Gaza. Shit, West Bank is kind of closer, so. You know? Alright, I gotta stop being so goddamn cynical. Alright, however, difficult when I have stuff like this. This is from the exact same time that last one came out. And, as that's going on, Israel has been continuing and escalating its operations in Rafah and the Jabalia refugee camp. What I can't believe is that these guys are still posting all this shit to the goddamn internet. I find that to be fascinating. It's a really strange choice, in my opinion, but hey, I struggle to really be in the head of an Israeli soldier. I suppose that's on me. Just not imaginative enough, I suppose. Oh boy. Uh-oh. I think we've arrived at our last video. Yeah, they do seem proud. It's, in the face of all sense and reason. Okay, well, sorry to report this, chat, but this is, it's the final video. You made it to the end. Let's, listen to this from Al Jazeera 21 hours ago, where they discuss a quote-unquote huge disagreement between Israel and the United States over the IOF's military strategy. Which is, yeah. No kidding. But, yeah, let's listen.
Hamas's military wing has aired a video of what it says is the killing of 3 Israeli soldiers operating in Gaza on Wednesday. The video showed a group of soldiers being targeted by snipers several times. The attack took place north of Beit Hanun. The Israeli army didn't confirm the attack. Since October 7th, the Israeli military has confirmed the killing of 614 soldiers in Gaza.
That's a good point, Lefty. With all those GoPros that they seem to have on them, where are all of these tunnel videos that supposedly exist? I've seen a couple. I won't lie, but they've been there for 7 months. You'd think you would, considering the supposed extensiveness of it, you would have seen more than 2. Really, really bad looking tunnels.
After more than 7 months of war, Israel has still not achieved its stated goal of eliminating Hamas. This month saw fierce fighting in Jabalia in northern Gaza after the Israeli army went back to areas where it had said Hamas had regrouped. The US-based news site Politico reports that only...
Now that I think about it, I think I've only seen one video of tunnels. Have I even seen more than one? I don't have any. Have any of you seen more than one? It's all blending together now in my head.
To 35% of Hamas fighters who were part of the group before October 7th have been killed, and about 65% of its tunnels are still intact. This is according to American intelligence. It also reported concerns from U.S. officials that...
We were literally just talking about that fucking hilarious. Oh, they're still intact. Maybe that's why we haven't seen them, because they're still in... But wait. They're still intact. Still get video footage. Now it's a real conundrum.
Hamas has been able to recruit thousands of fighters during the war. And the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, has criticized Israel for failing to prevent Hamas from taking back areas it once controlled. Let's get more on this now with William Lawrence, a professor of international relations at the American University, joins us now from Washington. What can you tell us about the conversation, or perhaps even the concern there in Washington, about Israel's military strategy in Gaza?
Well, right from the beginning, there hasn't been much agreement between the U.S. and Israel. You may remember that it sent in its commander from the Mosul operation, seeing...
I do remember that. And yeah, the only tunnel video that that's the exact one that I'm referencing right now. For a second, I think in my head, I was also counting that room in, what hospital was it? It was in Khan Yunis, I think, or something. And you know, the one with the supposed Hamas calendar, but it was really just a calendar. I was somehow counting that as a second tunnel video in my head, but yeah, that's the only one I can think of. I honestly, at this point, I'd love to have another example of this supposed network. You'd think they would have really tried searching those things, considering, according to literally everyone, that's where the hostages also were.
Mosul maybe is the most similar recent military operation by the U.S. in which the U.S. managed not to kill a lot of Iraqi civilians and purge ISIS from Iraq, and or at least this urban area.
You think this guy is related to Jessica Fletcher? It's possible.
Iraq and most of Iraq, and Israelis basically didn't take that that strategy to heart. And while they do have mechanisms to avoid killing civilians, didn't implement their own policies either, and ended up killing, you know, at least 16,000 civilians by their own admission, and probably many more. And so there's a huge disagreement between the U.S. and Israel on strategy now. The U.S., as you probably know, is withholding heavy bombs, withholding intelligence, not supporting the Rafah operation in other way, because the U.S., both on the intelligence side and on the military strategy side, doesn't agree with Israel's approach to defeating Hamas, even though the U.S. agrees to some degree in the idea of Hamas no longer governing Gaza.
Now, I just want to add some grains of salt to what he's saying, mostly because I think it's kind of just, I feel like he's just repeating talking points that the administration has given us, when in fact, reality is in a much more gray area. Of course, only bombs in that shipment were withheld. Hundreds of millions of dollars of tank ammunition, amongst other things, were sent, which are clearly being used in the invasion of Rafah, which is supposedly the red line that we were talking about in this discussion. And yeah, it's just it's actually something we looked at recently, where even the bombs themselves may not be withheld. We saw Congress pass legislation to reverse Biden's decision on the 2,500-pound bombs that were being withheld in what this guy is talking about. So, you know, there's more gray area to it than what he is alluding to, and at this time, Israel is still getting our near full support, even though they're doing exactly what we told them not to do publicly.
It really believes the strategy is all wrong.
But it's not really prepared to follow that up with solid action, despite what you say about the concern there in Washington. It's very difficult to believe that there is an absolute wholehearted support for Israel when they have supplied Israel billions of dollars worth of weapons and funding. And after the deaths of over 35,000 people in Gaza, including 15,000 kids and 80,000 injured.
If I could just make one point there, the UN has revised down its,
Oh my
its estimate of how many
God.
children were killed.
This guy is disgusting. He's so frustrating. He's just here to say the only the talking points, not the actual facts. And that's why this is a very frustrating interview. And I'm sorry it's the last one, but it was the only way I could do things today. And I'm afraid I think I'm just gonna have to cut it short because I'm just getting sick of this dude having to correct everything he says over and over again. Like, no, like, dude, the UN didn't really revise it. They just haven't been able to get into Israel and don't have any way to verify the numbers and clarified something. In fact, the numbers have actually gone up since and it's just whatever. I feel like we already even like gone over that at one point, now that I think about it. But this dude sucks. Well, made it through another one. Somehow, day after day, nothing seems to get better. No matter how much I yell into the void, thankfully, I have all of you. Well, that's it for me. Till I see you next time. You stay classy, Galactic Stream Nation. Can't forget this. These are your galactic patrons. Whoopsies, what just happened? Oh, there we are. Yes, these individuals that you see in front of you all helped the production of the show. People like Gabby, Top Dogs, Aaron W, Mitty, PB, Robot Cat, Morbius Dragon, the Anti-Corporatist, Moa Noep, Nadia, Vincent Morales, and Donald James X. Hell yeah. All these people made the right choice. Oh god, my software is totally fucking up. What was I saying? Oh yes, click that link in chat. You too can become even more galactic. 1111111. Let's start